Show. Keeping your money safe and secure. Giving you predictability. Have the retirement you deserve with our Safe Money strategy. All the financial news you need. We're here to help you succeed on your Safe Money Show.
Good morning. Welcome to your Safe Money Show. I'm your host, Todd Schoberg. Today, we're going to get into the 5 pillars for retirement. Hopefully, I'm going to give you a little insight before you pull the pin and say goodbye to your career, and you get to spend the rest of your life with all the retirees in the world. But before I get into that...
Retirement will be a wonderful adventure, and we'll do it together.
I'm going to welcome my co-host, Tony Shore. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Todd. And
where the heck did you get that kind of money?
From our retirement account.
That was supposed to be our reward for all the years of responsibility.
You can see that at the kitchen table, that conversation, too.
Yes, you can. You can. But in all seriousness, retirement should be a wonderful adventure. And that's what working with Todd Schoberg will get you. I know that. And listening to the show, your Safe Money Show. So, we're going to talk about the 5 pillars. We all want a stress-free retirement, especially if you're planning on retiring anytime soon or have just retired. But yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show. We always manage to have fun despite ourselves, right? And learn
matter
something.
of fact, I had Katie today was checking out our show. I heard her in the front end, and she was listening to last week's show off our podcast. And all of a sudden, I kept hearing her giggle. I mean, it was steady giggle from the front end. And I told her it's not a comedy show. It's an information finance show. And she says, I have to laugh. She says, well, we do have a good time here. And we try to touch on a lot of different subjects. And this week, we're going to talk about the 5 pillars, and we're going to get through that. But first, it's a busy time this weekend in Mora, Minnesota. We have the Super Bowl coming up. Everybody's going to jump on that. We have the Mora volatility. It's a whole weekend of events starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They got awards. They got stage shows. They got the radio show. They have what's called the Vassalopet radio show. They have guests and musicians and a skit and all those types of things. It's always fun. So it's always written by somebody local.
That's neat.
And it's a hoot. So it's a great thing. We also have the Knife Lake Fishing Contest. I don't want to leave anybody out on Saturday. And then on is it Friday night, the Olympics, tomorrow night, or last night was the Olympics starting?
Yeah, the Olympics started as of this recording. Now we're recording this on a Tuesday, but the Olympics are going, right?
On Friday.
On Friday, and the Super Bowl is this weekend.
Yeah, lots of things. Lots.
Oh my goodness.
Vaughn is going to ski. I just got a message that she's okay, so that's always fun for us here in Minnesota to see Lindsay ski. She's an excellent skier. So, so if you're bored, man, just turn on a TV, look outside, come up to Mora. You're going to find something to do. So it's a great weekend. We were successful last week at the fishing tournament. I have to give you a little update on that. There was 10 fish caught. They didn't fill out every category. I wasn't one of the winners of the fishing tournament, but I did pull out a drawing of a nice Strike Master 6 and 12-inch auger. Just what I need to add to my collection. But I think I'm going to do a little negotiating with my sister because she doesn't have one, and we'll see what happens there. I'll give you an update.
Get cash up front. I know your sister. Don't trust that. You got to get. You need to see cash on the barrelhead up front.
I'll pay you tomorrow. Yes,
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a cheeseburger today.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I hope you get to see some of the entertainment that's available to you. And maybe if you're from out of the area, there might be some things in your area that you're interested in. But we're always about promoting the community and all the things that go on around here. But today, we're going to be breaking down the 5 pillars, the essential framework you need to ensure your money lasts as long as you do. We're covering income, investments, taxes, healthcare, and legacy. And if you're worried about outliving your savings, today is the show for you. So take some notes, not if you're driving, but take some notes if you're sitting home, get your cup of coffee, and let's get moving.
Yeah. You don't want that bank account to hit zero before your blood pressure does, Todd.
No. And you should be looking at some of my lifetime income accounts that you can never outlive your money. And that's just part of your comprehensive retirement plan, and we'll talk about in a minute. But let's start with income planning, as long as we talked about dollars, and that's the retirement paycheck. Most people spend 40 years building a blob of money. Pillar one is about turning that blob into a paycheck.
Yep.
We always look at that and say, what are we going to do? But a reliable stream is what you're looking for, and that's your floor. That's Social Security, which saw a 2.8% COLA increase this year, and pensions and annuities. Those are your floor income bases. Inflation guardrails in 26 to think about. You must plan for about a 3% annual inflation. And just to give you a number on that, if you need $5,000 today, you'll need $10,000 in 20 years just to maintain your current lifestyle. Now think about that. You talk about that blob of money. Is it going to carry you all the way through? Most people are going to see 25, 30 years of retirement. So you have to have a plan. If you got your 401k or your regular savings, or you have investment property that you're going to sell, or stocks or bonds, you need that comprehensive plan to get you through your retirement years.
Yeah, you really do need a comprehensive plan, and it needs to incorporate all 5 of the pillars you're going to talk about for today. I mean, that's huge. So I know the first pillar is income planning, right? That's your retirement paycheck, and you've alluded to that a little bit, right? Yep. I mean, that's a huge one. And you said you have options for income that you won't outlive. That's huge.
I have a lifetime income strategy that you can put so much money in, and it's going to give you that paycheck no matter what the economy does, no matter what the interest rates do, the stock market does. You're going to get that income all the rest of your life. And if you die prematurely, and a lot of people are kind of worried about that, well, what do I do? What happens to that money then? Well, guess what? Your beneficiaries get the balance of that.
Oh, that's great.
I had a gentleman come in ask me about that this week. So if I put money into that and I die on day 2, does the insurance company keep all that money? No, your balance goes to your beneficiaries. Years ago, that's the way it was. You only had a 5, a 10, or a 15-year annuity or a lifetime annuity. If it was a lifetime annuity or any of those others, it only had the guarantee of the years. But if you picked that lifetime and you died prematurely, that money was gone. It was the insurance companies. In today's world, that is not true. Your balance goes to your beneficiaries. But if you live to 105 and that balance is 0, you're still getting that paycheck every single month, no matter if there's money there
as
or not.
As long as you live. If science comes up with something new and you live to 120, you're going to get that money until you're 120.
And I have a client right now who is 80 or 92 years old, and she retired at 56.
Yikes.
And she's still getting that check month after month after month, and she smiles every time I see her because that check continues to come.
Yeah. And that's very advantageous for her. Yeah, my grandfather was active through age 100, and he died at 101. But he was out camping at 100. Honestly.
Oh my gosh,
that's my grandpa. Great. He was making quilts, camping, doing woodwork, and I mean, he's a unique individual.
Like his grandson. Yeah.
Well, I'm unique in other ways. I would love to be unique in the ways he was, because I mean, the TV news stations and the newspapers were every birthday he had after 90, they were out there because he was driving. He was the oldest person in town to ever buy a brand new pickup truck from the Ford dealership. We've never had somebody age, I forget how he was, 91, 92, bought a brand new truck. Now they're like, what? They tried to talk him out of it. Imagine that.
That's crazy. That's all I can say. That's crazy.
True story. Bob Shore. That's my grandfather, Robert Shore in Worthington, Minnesota. He was a farmer out there, and he lived a long, fruitful life. Only spent about 2 or 3 months in hospice. That was it. Up until that hospice, he was pretty much going.
That's amazing. So you need that lifetime income. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And if you're that lucky, you're going to need it. But this 2026, the trend we're seeing, though, because of what inflation does and the expenses and groceries and everything, we're seeing a little more of people working longer, or what we call a phased retirement, where folks work part-time to keep income flow while they're delaying their Social Security until age 70 to maximize that lifetime benefit, because we are living longer. And remember, at age 62, you receive 30% less than at your full retirement of age 67. And then you get another approximately 8% until you reach age 70. Now, that's a lot of money. That's a huge increase. And if you don't have a lot of savings and you don't have an income plan for other resources, so phased retirement plus getting that higher paycheck when you turn 70 might be a way that you can get through your retirement and be happy about it.
Yeah.
You know, because you do have time to put more money away. You have more time to put IRAs away or do Roths, so there's less taxes down the road. And we'll get into that a little bit later too.
Sure.
But you really need to have a plan for you. You need to know your situation, because everybody's different. There's no cookie cutter here.
Right.
You know, some people have mortgages yet. Some people don't have mortgages. Some people have large 401ks. Some have no 401k. Some have just some IRAs. You need to have a comprehensive plan, and everybody's different.
Yep. So what's pillar 2?
Pillar 2 is investment planning. In 2026, it's about not winning the market. You know, people have always played the market like it's a game. It's not about, it's about losing your lifestyle, right? Sizing your risk. You are still invested like you're 40. Okay, let's just think about this. A market downturn the year you retire is a sequence of returns that can absolutely derail your plan. Yeah. You know, say you have $500,000 and the market falls 40%, 50%. We've seen that in 2008. You know, you need to know what's going on with your market, with your money in the market. Right. Diversification beyond just stocks and bonds. 2026 investors are branching into private credit, real estate, asset funds, combat volatility, you know, just to beat that volatility somehow. Income accounts, just taking a look at what you have and what you're going to keep. And just for the people that are still working or are wanting to still contribute, those are still, you can remember, this is one that people don't think they can do, but you can put $24,500 into your 401k account, plus an extra $8,000 if you're 50 and over. Wow. So if you have your bills under control and you're not using a lot of money, but you don't have a lot in savings, working an extra year or two and be able to put that amount of money into
$32,000.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years working is $100,000.
Yeah.
You know, think about it. It's really a life changer.
Yeah.
You really need to examine your assets to see what it's going to take to get the income you need for the rest of your life. And when you can start your conservative plan. You know, I used to do workshops and I said, do you want to keep investing to become a millionaire? Or is it time for you to look at what you have and make a plan with that so you can take the stress out of that investing and be a conservative investor? And that's all about you. It's all about the length of time you're going to retire and what you want to achieve. Now, if you want to travel or golf or any of those types of things, maybe those are the things I want to do. But you'll probably have interests that you want to achieve when you retire. If it's seeing the grandkids or whatever that is, spending more time with friends, relatives, traveling, seeing the world, you need to have a plan that's going to get you there, not just hope and dream.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to have a plan that'll get you there. What's the next pillar that we need to talk about?
I don't even like to talk about the next one, but it's taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes can be the biggest leak in your retirement bucket. The government wants to take it from you. They give it, they take it away. That's kind of the rule it is.
Yeah.
The OBBB Act, recent legislation, made many tax cuts permanent, but your RMDs, your required minimum distributions, still start at 63. And RMDs are not just the alphabet. It's the required minimum distribution that the government makes you take when you start at age 73. This isn't Roth. These are the regular RMDs from your IRAs or 401ks. You have to take those minimum distributions. The 2026 senior bonus this year, if you're 65 plus, check the new $6,000 senior deduction. It was supposed to just mean that your Social Security wasn't going to be taxed, but it didn't work as far as the law. So they just added a senior deduction of $6,000
to the standard deduction already on top of that.
Right.
And that's per person, $6,000 per person if you're 65 or over. Plus, it's about $31,000, I think, if you're the standard deduction for a couple over 65, and you get an additional deduction of $1,600, I believe, per person. So it all adds up. The standard deduction this year is about $45,000 for couples 65 and older.
And just a side note, a lot of people didn't make those adjustments last year for their working. When you go to work, you tell them what deductions you want for the year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to get a big surprise because they've been taking out a lot of deductions and might get a nicer check than they think.
Or paying in, maybe they pay in quarterly their taxes, even in retirement, and they didn't adjust that. So they might get a nice surprise with a bigger tax return.
That's what they're saying, hopefully.
Yeah.
I know I didn't do that, so I'm not getting anything, but I hope well for everybody else.
Yeah.
But, the other thing is 2026 might be the year that you start converting your IRAs into Roths because maybe you are in that tax bracket. It pays the tax bill now. I mean, you're paying tax on that money, you're taking it out of your qualified accounts, but it's crucial because you won't be paying that big tax bill down the road because that'll be tax free. It's one of those things you really need to think about. And the question I always ask are you going to pay more taxes in the future or are you going to pay less taxes in the future? Well, if anything about tradition is nut taxes don't seem to go down. So get together with your accountant, get together with your advisor, come and talk to me. We can look at converting those into the Roth and see what you can. Because we have these deductions this year, it might be a year that you can take advantage of those tax breaks. So think about
this year,
that.
this might be the year because for now we have historically low tax rates on the federal level. The tax bracket rates are low, and you've got the extra tax deductions. And so you're right. This might be the year, and you'd rather pay tax now than in retirement and later on when tax rates eventually they have to go up because of the national debt, things like that.
Yeah, and if you're not thinking about retirement right now, and you're in the younger generation coming up, make sure you're looking at the advantage of the Roth.
Yes.
Maybe you need the income or you don't need the deductions or whatever, but maybe you can split your 401k, some of it into a regular 401k, some of it into a Roth IRA. Kind of make that adjustment as you age so you know where you're going to be down the road, because if you're paying taxes down the road, maybe you will take 50% out of your taxable IRA. Maybe you'll take some out of your non-taxable IRA, or maybe taxes are in a situation where you have higher income at first and you need that tax-free income. So that's another reason we talk about the comprehensive retirement plan. You get to look at all those issues. And a lot of times, a lot of people just throw a dart on the wall, on a calendar, and say, that's the day I'm going to retire. This isn't the time to do that. This is the time to look at all these pillars we've been talking about to make that decision. So it's educated. And you're making the right decision for you. So think about getting in early.
Right.
And, if you're young and you just want some advice to come in to put that plan and do a projection and say, where are we today and where do we want to be tomorrow and what do we need to save and how risky do we want to be? This is the time. If you got 10 years, give me a call. Let's sit down. Let's put those numbers down. Let's look at what's coming up, and I'm going to talk about it. And that's the healthcare. That's the silent pillar there. We just think, okay, we're going to be on Medicare when we turn 65. But if you're looking at early retirement, I have some people that come at 58 and then they turn around at the door because I show them it's going to cost them $1,100 to $22,000 a month for insurance. No, maybe I'll retire a couple years down the road. So you have to look at that too. And Medicare isn't a set fee. You have A, B, and C, D as coverages, but Medicare Part B nearly rose 10% this year.
Yeah.
And it's the first time it ever went over the 200 mark.
Yeah, you have premiums, co-pays, deductibles. You have your drug plan that you have to pay some for. So, I mean, there are things it doesn't cover unless you have a supplemental or advantage plan. So you have to have a healthcare plan in place. That's a huge pillar for retirement planning, and so many people miss this one. I guess that's why you called it the silent pillar, right?
Right, because they just say, well, I'll retire and I'll get my Medicare and it'll be fine. But if it all determines on your health too. You have to remember that. I mean, if you're dealing with cancer or any other terminal disease, those are expensive things to do. And you have to lay out a plan with your insurance and what's going to cover you the best, even though there's maximums now. I mean, Part D has a maximum this year of $2,100. So once you pay $2,100 for your drugs, they're all covered. But there's also a thing called formularies. Are your drugs in formularies? And I think we've battled more of that this year than ever because of these new diet drugs and and diabetes drugs. A lot of the insurance companies aren't picking those up. And you're paying for those all by yourself because they're out of formulary.
Yeah.
And they don't count towards that $2,100. So you're paying that out of pocket, and a lot of those are $600 to $1,200 a month prescriptions.
Yep.
So you need to think about that. And then what other specialty drugs are you on? You need to meet with somebody to make sure all your drugs are there. And that's what a specialist for Medicare is. And I've become one just because I need to be for my retirees. They need to be able to come to somebody and answer every single one of their questions about Medicare. And it's if it's A or B or what the premiums are, what the formularies are, what the deductibles are, what the maximums out of pockets are. You need to know how they work. And if you're climbing into that age, I'm just going to throw a side note in here. I have a book called Medicare 101, and it's written for about a 7th grader. If you read that, you're going to know the basics behind Medicare, and you're going to need to know the difference between a supplement, an advantage plan, a cost plan. You're going to need to know what A does and B does and C does. You're going to need to know if there's dental on policies, if there's not dental on policies. You need to know why they are the way they are. And how can you get a zero premium plan? Does it make sense for me? Or do I need a $200 plan because I have special needs? That's the thing about the silent pillar that people don't think about. You need to have the plan that's right for you, and you need to know how it works. Wednesday, I had a client come in, and we talked about just that. Matter of fact, the question I asked them, Tony, was, did you read my book? They were in earlier. I said, did you read my book? And they both hung their head down and said, no, he didn't, but you'll tell us it anyhow. Yeah. But if you want to get a hold of that, just stop in, ask us, go to our website, look for that book because it's a great outline on the beginning and learning about Medicare.
Yeah, and do that hopefully before you hit 65 is the best time. But even if you're in retirement, it's always good to have a refresher. And I know that you're happy to work with people on that. And then the other aspect to that healthcare pillar is long-term care. And we've talked about that a lot on the show in the past.
We have, and in 26, things are shifting. I can't find any long-term care, regular old-fashioned policy out there.
Which is probably good because they were really expensive, and if you put the money in, it was gone if you didn't use it. Of course, now most people would use it. I think 2 out of every 3 people who make it to at least 65 are going to need long-term care at some point. But there's hybrid policies now, right?
That's absolutely right. And the thing about hybrid policies, you can put money in there and it's your money. It's liquid. You can get liquid. If you need it back, there's no penalties to get it back if you need it down the road. But it's there to pay for long-term care. And if you don't need it, guess what? There's life insurance and it grows. It grows in there at an interest rate. So you get it looks and acts like a CD. It acts and looks like an annuity. It acts and looks like a long-term care policy. It's something that people can really think about because a lot of people will have money in a CD or something and they're not using it. It's for down the road or whatever they're going to use it for. But here you can have it put into a vehicle, make interest on it, and still have it available for long-term care. And even if you go into long-term care, there's a death benefit at the end that will pay for your final expenses. And it really is a nice product, and it's not so fear-rendering as buying a long-term care policy and seeing those dollars go out the door.
Right, because it actually lets you tap into your death benefit while you're still alive if you need it for long-term care with some of the policies, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's huge. I think that's huge. Well, hey, we better move on to the final pillar if we're going to get it in. We got to hit all 5 today, Todd. So
right.
What is the final pillar?
5 is legacy, and it's not just about a will, it's about control. In 2026 gifting, you can now gift up to $19,000 a person. That's $38,000 per couple without even filing a gift tax return. That's a lot of money. And if you're moving out of your estate or trying to liquidate some of your estate, that's a great vehicle right there. In today's world, you need to ensure, and this is out there, but you got to think about it, to ensure your digital assets, your passwords, your crypto, your social media are all documented, and someone else knows where to find those passwords and code words. And I know on crypto, you have it on a flash drive. And if you lose that, my son lost his, he had in college, and he bought some just for an experiment. If he found it, we're all going to retire, but he lost it. And so you need to know where those things are.
That's terrible.
Because it's a big, big issue.
Yeah.
And then family meetings. It's important that your family knows what your wishes are. The best legacy is a plan that minimizes family conflict, avoids probate, and everybody's on the same page so that nobody's arguing at the end of your life. When you go, you want everybody not to have a smile on their face, but not to have a frown because they have 2 years of work to get through probate and not get to the dollars and cents that just balances everything out and everybody moves on. If you're missing even one of these pillars, we need to talk. Especially if you're not fully retired, we can put those pillars together. Or if you're just unemployed. I mean, if you don't have these pillars and you're going to have a happy retirement, you're just unemployed and you're hoping for the best. And to build your 2026 blueprint, get your comprehensive retirement plan started today. There's one way I know you can do it, and that's by giving me a call at 855-22-MONEY. That's 855-226-6639. Or go to my website, yoursafemoneyshow.com. And remember, if I can't prove it, don't do it. Have a great weekend.
All right, and that does it for today's episode of Your Safe Money Show with our host, Todd Schober.
We're here to help you succeed on Your Safe Money Show.
Your Safe Money Show is brought to you by Schober and Holmstrom Financial Services in Mora, Minnesota. The agency is an independently owned and operated and is not affiliated with any other safe money or government agency. Call the office at 855-22-MONEY, 855-226-6639 for your no-obligation appointment or visit yoursafemoneyshow.com.